Hi everyone, hi, it's Christine here, and I've come on here and just because I didn't want to mix the other video that I did earlier, the live video, because I didn't want to talk about what I'm about to talk about this evening, which is, quite shocking for me to see this happening. So there's demonstrations going on at the moment in America, across America, and people are not happy with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They're just not happy. So I've just been, I've been looking at quite a lot of the news. I've been looking at the discussions that's been happening, and it's quite sad to see that the White House is really just taking such control in this way, to the point where it seems as if people are just being fired left, right, and center. There's no order. It just seems very chaotic, and they keep talking about that they've got this evidence and that evidence, but why are we not seeing this? For example, why are we not seeing this evidence that people are just being told? It's just making it seem like it's a laughing stock, for example. And we really need to be listening to what's going on here, because there's millions, well, thousands of people across America not happy about how their government is being run, and they just feel so fragile, very fragile about what's happening. And I'm looking at this and I'm feeling for the Americans as well, because at the end of the day, imagine people going into your private affairs. And for what reason? What rights do they have to go in there? Why can't the people that was employed to do their job be able to do their job? Why was they just let go just so quickly like that? And then why could things not be investigated together? For example, they're acting as if they've done something wrong, but they haven't really been told what wrong that they've done, and to be suddenly just be gone, and then not to be told what's happening. And I'm just I'm a bit shocked, because I'm seeing all of this television where people are really not happy about their money being looked at, and they're worried that their money is being delved into, and some of them are worried that they're not going to get their payments. You imagine, you've got pensions, you've got your health care, you've got your money for things, and things are being stopped all of a sudden. Why is that happening? Surely this should be whereby I don't know. I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer. Even the lawyers are finding it difficult. The lawyers are actually finding it difficult. They're having to work around the clock, 24/7, to try and stop these things that Donald Trump is trying to implement. Things that Donald Trump actually implemented when he was in office, like the DEIA, for example, was when he was in office previously before, and now all of a sudden it stopped instantly. So looking into people's money, how much money they're getting, and whilst everyone else's finances are being scrutinized, then why is Elon Musk finances not scrutinized? Why is it not looked at in terms of the contracts that he has got, for example? And I've come on here because I didn't want to discuss it with the positivity of India, for example. I didn't want to mix the two. And I'm looking at this news, which I don't normally watch TV, but I've got family in the UK as well as America as well. And I lived in America for quite some time, for example. And to think that, people are protesting against a president because they're not happy with what he's doing, then, that's quite concerning, and there's things that I've noticed that I'm not happy that he's done, but I don't live in America, so to them it's none of my business, but to me it is, because I have family who live there as well. And it's quite daunting to keep hearing that they're saying that there's this, that and the other, but we don't seem to be seeing the evidence. It's all right talking, but where's the evidence to show that this is correct, what they're saying? And why just suddenly kick people out of their... Millions of people have been put on, just put on leave, just dismissed as if they've done something wrong. If they did something wrong, then that's a different thing, but they haven't. As far as I can see, they haven't done anything wrong. And it's not just, it's all the workers. So I can understand why there's a lot of protesting going on in America, because, I wouldn't be happy with people that haven't even been put in that position to go into people's finances. Because there's the lawyer, Crockett, I believe her name is, she said that you have to have security clearance to be able to look at all of these financial records of every American, for example. I'm just kind of going through this and looking at it in the news, and I'm thinking, wow, what has happened? What has happened to make it from day one, from President Trump went into the office, into the Oval Room, into the White House, and immediately started to make immediate changes without even a thought of what the implications are for people and the citizens. They're, to me, I just think it's very, very sketchy what's going on, for example, and people are worried that they're going to destroy the government. They're worried that they're going to destroy the government, and that's why people are protesting. So, for example, here there's this lady here who is saying, her name is Mary Gay, for example, federal cuts, part of the effort to destroy government, not make it efficient. So that people are worried that the government isn't going to be efficient.
Could be your best career move yet.
It is worrying. It is very worrying. Look at all of these people here. They're just protesting. And you'll see in a minute. I'll just turn that round. So they're protesting all around America. It's happening. Now just turn the volume up so that you can hear.
This week were deemed not to be in line with the administration's goals. And the FAA's layoffs of some 400 probationary employees this weekend drawing protests from the workers' union.
These are the folks ones that make everything happen, so the rest of us that are engaged in aviation safety can make sure that all of that is
Even
happening.
aviation.
The agency says it continues to hire and onboard air traffic controllers and has retained employees who perform critical safety functions. Kate Sandlin moved from Alabama to Maryland in January to take a job as an education outreach specialist with the National Institutes of Health. On Saturday, she became one of at least 1,000 employees there to be fired.
I have no idea how I'm going to recover from this.
That was Garrett Hake reporting. And Mara, I mean, it is, the tech ethos has been to sort of move fast, break things. If you have to, you go back and try to repair it afterwards. But this is...
See, I didn't want to just talk because I wanted you to see this.
And these are also key services and government functions that impact everyone, whether you live
Key services.
in a blue state. And it's certainly, there's a rising sense from Democrats and everyday citizens that what Musk and team are doing, in no way is this making the country safer.
Well, first of all, there is a pretty good legal case that Elon Musk should not even have access.
So they feel
to
that
carry
things
out
are
this, purge
not
that
efficient.
is. And
It's
secondly,
making it
I would
dangerous.
say that we have zero transparency, really, into how this is being done.
No transparency.
Really, I think the message that the American people need to be hearing more is that all of this is being done, this slashing and burning, to essentially prepare the country for Donald Trump's tax cuts to the wealthy. And there's got to be a way to pay for that. And what's going to happen is that everyday Americans in their everyday lives are paying for it already. We're seeing it in government services that are going to suffer already.
So this
We've
is
been
quite
seeing that the FAA
serious.
is really not up to the mark at the moment. They're being gutted. Medicaid, Medicare, every part of the government that touches
Healthcare.
Americans' lives is about to be impacted, and it's not clear
In America.
yet that there's a broad realization of this outside of Washington, D.C., but it's coming. And I think that's one of the questions that I have just as a journalist right now is, do everyday Americans in the rest of the country understand that this is going to impact their lives in ways they can't even imagine yet? That's part of our job, is to explain that this is not just about government workers in Washington.
So this is, like she said, Mary Kay said, Myra Kay, sorry, was saying this just isn't about Washington. It's about the whole of America, the Americans, and how this is impacting. So it will be like a domino effect. So I just pray that the judges will be able to put some order into what's happening, because at this rate, it is just day by day, it's just getting worse and worse. And this is why people are protesting against Donald Trump, as well as Elon Musk as well. Like I said, I don't watch the news very often. Well, it's very rare that I watch the news. I do my research usually, but I'm not really on the news. But this is obviously something that's very, very very serious. So this is why I've come on to this live to discuss this. I don't know if there are any Americans on here at the moment listening to this, and whether you're affected by this, because obviously it must be quite scary for you, for example. So, tell me, what do you think about this? Maybe you've got a different point of view, but I've just listened to lawyers, I've listened to judges just recently, and this is now the public are protesting around America to say they don't want Donald Trump anymore. They said they're not looking for a king. So I wanted to jump on here quickly just to say that, I just pray that everything goes into the right direction and that this gets resolved as quickly as possible for those living in America right now, because I know that you're coming up to April, you're going to be claiming your taxes and things like that. Does that mean you're not going to get your taxes now? Are they going to hold on to that? Because usually you file for your for you to get your tax return, for example. Does that now mean that you may not be getting your tax return? Because everyone looks forward to that yearly payment. Some people do their houses up, some people go on, do something with that money, for example. So drop in the comments here if you are in the States, for example, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this, because I've just been listening to the what the lawyers have to say, as well as the judges and the staff members that have just been told to go without any proper reason. Some of them have just been emailed over the weekend, last weekend. This is every color. Male, female, age. It's everybody that they seem to be getting rid of or putting them on leave. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you put people on leave if they have worked there for such a long time? They'll be able to help you find what you need to find a lot quicker than people that wasn't elected to go in at such a critical security section of the United States. It just seems really odd. And I just worry, that you're not going to get your payments, that your health care, all of these things have been stopped. People's childcare has been stopped. People's food stamps have been stopped, for example. People have lost their jobs, for example, that have worked somewhere for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that are thinking, this is my retirement. So it is very, very worrying. And for people to be protesting the way they are, then clearly that is a lot.
Tax returns. This is about people's social security.
Yeah, it's about tax return, social security.
And the government is not being remade to be efficient. This is an effort to destroy it. And I think that is the core message that Democrats need to be explaining every day in great detail. This is not an effort to make things more efficient. Every American understands there's ways to make government more efficient. Nobody is against that. But this is not an effort to do that. This is an effort to destroy the government so that it's easier for oligarchs and the Heritage Foundation to do whatever they wish.
Well, we all, I think most.
So that's quite a strong statement. It seems as if there's some undercurrent going on here that is not really looking at being efficient, but yet people are in the courts talking about efficiency, but that isn't efficiency. Think about the number of plane crashes that they've been because there's a shortage of staff. When there's a shortage of staff that it can cause lives lost, danger. And look at the number of plane crashes that there've been recently since they've let go of the aviation staff. I don't know what to say. I'm quite speechless about this. But I wanted to come on here just to talk about, do you think that the federal cuts are part of an effort to destroy the government, not make it efficient, according to the news and the discussions that I've been listening to, because this sounds quite dangerous to me. And the people of America are now protesting because they want something done immediately, because it seems as if they're worried that the money is going to be sucked out and then there'll be nothing left. They keep talking about that there's trillions of fraud and this and that and the other. Well, why get rid of the staff members? Get the staff in there and let them show you, so you know you can get to that problem that you claim is happening, for example, a lot quicker, and see it and then question, for example, rather than just let people go. And then people are in the White House, in the Doge committee, for example, are there, but I'm not hearing, I'm not seeing, for example, what it is that they've found. They're talking about it, but I'm not seeing it. And I think the problem is as well with the public, the people in America, they're not able to see it either. They're not seeing the same thing as what we've been told to happen. I remember that I was listening, I saw something on the TV where the pastor was in church where Donald Trump goes to church, for example. And she was talking about the politicians, and she was trying to talk about peace and things like that. And, people are concerned, very concerned right now. And I'm sure that to get rid of that's like a mass exodus. Well, not even an exodus, a mass get rid of people in one go. Who's going to be next? Next thing, Elon Musk wants to look at the gold reserve. Why? Why does he want to look at everybody's finance when he's not an accountant, when he's not an audit person, when he's not been elected or had security clearance? Why? Why would he want to do that? Or the team, should I say, his team. That, there's multiple ones of them, but why? I don't understand. Because now it's making me question what's going on here after looking at these news and hearing from people about what's going on in America. I mean, the price of eggs, for half a dozen of eggs, $6? That's crazy. I can get like 30 eggs for €5, €6 for 30 eggs. 30. And half a dozen of eggs, 6 eggs costs $6. Yeah, I know that there was the bird flu and, but why is there such a shortage? Same with the farmers. They're even having a hard time right now. They're having a hard time selling their products. So that's why I mentioned the other day, please go and visit your local farm and buy from them. See what they've got. Visit. Do like what my dad used to do, go around to all the different farms, which he did. I didn't like it when I was younger because we would never get home till night time, but it taught us a lot. But I just can't believe what's happening with the government in the US. And it just seems as if, is Donald Trump in charge? Or is Elon Musk in charge? Love to know your comments. What do you think? Because to get all these people protesting around America,
agree and support
thousands.
the idea that we need to get rid of tax, fraud, and abuse in government. I mean, it's why I got into politics so many years ago, to balance the budget. And we did it 4 years in a row. And we made tough cuts, but you don't balance the budget the way that this is happening right now. I mean, you talk about how this impacts Americans. We're talking about, laying off, just randomly laying off people at the FAA when actually we need more people in the FAA right now. They're laying people off there. So you're talking about air safety.
Air
for our
safety.
families. You're talking about food safety. You're
Food
talking
safety.
About safety for the air that we breathe, for the water that we drink.
Air.
Even epidemics. If you're talking about the flu and
Epidemics.
to track that down. We're not even talking about pandemics here. There's so many ways the government touches our life. But here's the thing, Steph, really quickly to you, and then I'd love to get John in here. Here's the thing. What they're cutting won't come close to taking care of $36 trillion debt. Won't come close to bringing down the deficit, the trillion-plus deficit. Won't even come close to paying for a fraction of Donald Trump's proposed tax cuts. So again, it's high
And
risk.
there's tariffs going on around the world.
Because it will not pay for anything substantial. Because as I say all the time, defense spending, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, interest on the debt, that's 85% of the budget right there. And that's what's driving the national debt.
Joe, it doesn't even come close to the daily interest payment we incur covering the tax cuts. But let's just go back to Social Security for a
So they have to pay
because
interest
Elon Musk has now
on
put it out there, and you heard that
tax
soundbite
cuts.
from the press secretary saying, we suspect that tens of millions of dead Americans are receiving Social Security payments. Here's what's super important. Let's say that's true. If it is, let's have at it. Let's have Elon Musk at the White House. Let's have him testify under oath before Congress and show his work. Because every American out there wants that cleaned up. So if it's true, let's have at it. But the fact
No
that
one's
this is-
showing
we're just
anything.
hearing this in dribs and drabs. We're putting it, Elon Musk is putting it out on his social media site where half of his posts he starts with the word bruh. This is the United States of America. And if Elon Musk is, if there's all people out there going, listen, aren't we lucky that the most successful businessman of our time is taking his time to do this? Sure, you know what? I'll buy that. But can you imagine when Hank Paulson was the Treasury Secretary, if he maintained his position as chairman and CEO of Goldman Sachs while he was our Treasury Secretary? That's where we are. Let me just say this. Elon Musk's 7 companies have received $20 billion in government contracts, and he is still running these companies and has had no significant security clearance. We're allowed to ask.
So 20 billion
Government agencies have
contracts.
business practices by some of Musk-owned companies.
Yes, all those investigations and lawsuits, though, are gone now.
Yeah, all of them gone. And to Mara's point, no transparency whatsoever. So, John Hammond, let's.
So apparently there was meant to be some investigations into, I suppose, the contracts that he's got, but that's all stopped now as well with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So I wanted to come on here because I was just sort of listening, and my family member also pointed a few things out to me tonight, and I was quite surprised. So that's why I've come on here, and this is why I'm saying that, is this making the government efficient like they've been saying it's meant to, which it did seem like a good idea to begin with, And then this chopping started, one after the other, without proper explanation, without proper procedures. For example, they're salaried, employed staff, not contractors. They're not self-employed contractors. They're employed, salaried staff that have been there for years and worked hard. There's people that are just in total shock right now because they've just suddenly, boom, they get an email and then they can't access their work email. They can't access their computer. Everything's switched off. And yet there was a talk about that everyone should work from the office and not work from home. But yet they haven't allowed them to come in to work in the office. It seems as if they stopped them before they even got to that point. So I wanted to come on here and just say that, you know, the Americans are protesting against Donald Trump. They don't want him running their finances. They don't want Doge team going into their personal business and looking at what they're getting. They're worried about their pensions. Imagine, you're probably worried, they could be worried that you've worked hard for all of these years and you're looking forward to your pension, for example, and then your pension could be gone for whatever reason. I think the Americans need to see what is happening. They need to see the evidence of what they're saying, not just talk about it. The people need to see so that they can focus and then they can really have a proper understanding of what's going on, rather than just appoint people and kick others out that have been with the government organizations for many years and gone through exams, gone to university, took proper tests and actually was able to do their job effectively. And this isn't about the color black. This is white people. This is all nationalities, for example, male, female, ages. They've all been affected. They've all lost their jobs. So what are they meant to do now? Whilst everyone else, whilst the team, the Doge team, are going in and trying to now access people's finances. That's why these judges, it's like they're doing like babysitting Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They're babysitting, and Doge team, they're babysitting them. They're working around the clock. These judges and lawyers are. They're taking it in shifts. They're not getting a proper rest. Some of them are doing the graveyard shift, which is like the 2 till 6, for example. But they know they have to do it because they know that it's... I'll explain something to you. One thing, when I was at uni, for example, doing law with business, they said that you give as much, cause as much confusion as possible so it distracts. So it's like with Elon Musk, he's written all these orders and he's just chucking them out one after the other. And some of them are the ones that he created when he was in before, for example. So he's getting rid of them. And then some of it's not right. So then it has to go to court. Then the judge has to freeze. And then he can then appeal it in a couple of weeks' time or something like that. And then the lawyers have to keep it. It's like chaos. And then Donald Trump is putting tariffs on countries around the world. They're worried. People are worried. Leaders are worried around the world that wars are going to break out. They're trying to do the peace thing, and that's why they're meeting, and they're trying to meet with one another. I know Trump is due to come to the UK to meet with the UK Prime Minister, and I just pray that goes well, but there's all the other countries as well, that are really struggling. And Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, who's meeting with Donald Trump in about a week or two's time, for example, is hopefully going to be the peacemaker. Because I think if these tariffs keep being put onto countries, it just puts inflation up. So everything goes up. You know what's going to happen? We're going to end up going back to how it used to be in the old days, where we'd have a corner of the garden and we'd have our potatoes, tomatoes, vegetables, carrots, everything. Because you imagine the farmers, they've got their produce that they're meant to ship out. Before, it used to stay in the country where we needed the food. Now everybody's like shipping things out all the time. And now we're in not an emergency situation, but it could lead into an emergency situation because it is urgent. That's why people in America are protesting, for example. They don't want to run out of food, because people have been relying on, importations, for example. They've been relying on food being imported and exported and all of these things. And now we're in a situation whereby if we get something, then there's going to be tariffs. So that means people's food prices are going to go up. But the wages don't go up. I know in the UK you had the wages are meant to go up in April, for example, but that's not much anyway. That's just a national minimum wage. But if the prices are going up, the price could go up by a third more, for example. Then how is that going to help anybody? How is it going to help anybody putting tariffs on countries around the world, as well as yourselves in America, for example? And then you go into the supermarket and everything is like a third more. And then you can't even have a simple, have eggs every day. Your family can't have eggs every day because 6 eggs in America cost $6. So how can a family, for example, have eggs every day? You can't. Same with, I don't even know how much a box of cereal is in America, but when I last was there, it wasn't cheap. Even when I was going around the supermarket last year buying chicken, and by the time I finished, I'd spent like $200 and I only had a few bags of things, and I was like, whoa, this is insane prices. And that was back then. So I can't imagine what the price of things are in America right now. Same with in the UK. It is expensive. Things that you used to buy that was cheap has now become expensive. I eat meat. My husband doesn't eat meat, but I eat meat. And, if you, like years ago, you'd buy oxtail, it was cheap. Now it's expensive. Like when I was in America last year with my family, for example, and the oxtail for just one small, and I mean it was small, tray, was about $11. It might have actually been, no, it was $22, for example. Things have really gone up. In the UK, it's expensive as well for food. You know, something that you kind of take it for granted that you're going to be able to buy a decent amount of food. And I'm not talking about the frozen processed food, because, you know, that's not good for you, you know, but that's where people are going to have to turn to, for example. And I probably can imagine that that's going to go up because the demand is going to go up. Whenever the demand goes up, then the price goes up for things. But, you know, putting tariffs around the world is just going to cause everything to go up, and everyone's going to struggle. The recession has already hit us here now. It's happened. And that's why I was talking from last year, from September. If you look back at my videos from September, where I was talking about recession proof, try and create some savings. From September last year, I was talking about this. And I know it's hard to do that. But this is now, the food prices have gone up. Travel has probably gone up. You know, people probably don't want to fly locally, I'm talking about, in America, because of the staff being laid off all the time. The staff that were qualified and were able to do the job and didn't do anything wrong were just got rid of. And they're feeling lost right now. And think about, there's all of these things happening in America, and they're making out that something really bad has been happening, but Donald Trump was in power before. Why was it not pulled up then? Why did he not notice it then when he was in power before? Why now? Because it couldn't have just happened. You know, he was in for what, 4 years? So what was happening then? And now all of a sudden he's noticed it. Now he's come back in. So this hasn't just happened in the course of since he's wasn't in office and come back into office. Whatever he's saying is wrong, for example. This must have been something that's been going on for a long time. If it is what he says it is. But surely the Americans need to see the evidence of why and what it is that they're talking about. The Americans need to see it. You're living there. You need to see it, because it's your public purse. It's your money, your taxes that you've paid into. You want to know, obviously, what you've spent, what it's been spent on. Like you would your household, for example. You want to know what things are being spent on. But also, imagine they're trying to strip away healthcare. People having food, people having medication. What else? There's a long list. Food stamps, what is it? Ed Start, DI, for example, for example, which he implemented when he was in as well. He didn't say anything then. So who really is in control here? Who's in control? And I think people are worried that it's Elon Musk in control of the White House and not Donald Trump. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, but I'm just going from what I am seeing and what people are saying, and what is the conclusion to come up with? What is the logical conclusion to come up with? And Elon Musk has done really well. Like I said, I thought it was 13 billion, but it's 20 billion he's got worth of contracts. And they're saying that they were going to investigate the contracts that he got to make sure that it wasn't a conflict. And then all of a sudden, these people were let out, were let go. The agencies that were looking into it. So this is from what I've listened to from the news and from what the lawyers are saying here, as well as some of the judges are saying. It's not what I'm saying, it's what I've seen and heard and read. And there's something that needs to be dealt with immediately, because the people in America are protesting against Donald Trump. And it is quite a concern that, I don't know. It's just very unusual for this to be happening, because I thought everyone was happy with Donald Trump, for example. I thought they were happy with him, but they're clearly not, because they won't be here talking on the news, for example. So everybody, you just gotta just hope for the best, pray, and be whatever it is, whatever you believe in, just have faith in that and keep pushing, but also don't be blindsided. Listen and see what's happening and try and get as much information. I'm going to be giving information, and as well as I'm going to be helping business owners, but I also want to make sure that everybody, that we're all, seeing what's happening, whether you agree with it or not. It's always good to hear everyone's side of the story, isn't it? Because there's different sides. We all take sides, don't we? And I try not to take sides, but I'm also looking at this and thinking, I can imagine how the vulnerable people are feeling, and to have things just stop abruptly without even any leading time to plan for anything. That's a concern. So I know that America is in debt, that England's in debt. I think that the world is in debt, for example. But at the same time, there's interest. There's been a lot of tax breaks for the wealthy, for example, which that tax break probably could have paid the debt. I don't know. This is why there needs to be more communication so that the people can hear what is being said and see it, see the paperwork, so that you can understand what's happening here. Because there's a lot of things, in these court cases that's happening now at the moment with the Doge team, as well as the other departments, for example. So I'm going to keep watching it, and I'll keep you informed as well, and let's inform each other. All right, so I just wanted to jump in and do this video just to talk to you and say, do you know that this is, I know if you're in America you will know that this is happening, but you know, maybe you may be able to shed more light on than what I've given. But from what I'm listening to, you know, this lawyer, you know, she has to keep fighting all the time. It must be so exhausting for her, but she's doing a really, really good job. You know, her spirit is strong, so she is not going to be backing down. And, you know, we need more people like her. Same with the judges that is there and the, you know, that's fighting for you in America. Whether you're against or for, I'm just saying. All right. So anyway, I'm going to be jumping in here tomorrow, and I'm going to be talking to you about a few more things about undue influence, and I'm going to go back into the conflict of interest about creating the, you know, the policies that surround that as well. And also I'm going to be coming on here Friday as well as Saturday. I'll be coming on here at 7 p.m. New York time, just to let you know, so that you can, hopefully you'll be able to join me, because I want to try and reach everyone around the world. And I'm particularly really wanting to connect with people from around the world, because we are global. I'm a global person. I live in Cyprus as well, and you know, I just want to be able to reach people at the right time so that you all get a listen as well. Okay, so have a good evening everyone, and thank you for being here. And if you do know of anything, you can reach out to me, drop me a message, or put it in the comments. What do you think? Do you think that the federal cuts that are happening, I think it's an effort that's an effort apart to destroy, or do you think it's going to make the government efficient? I'd love to know your comments on it. All right, so thank you so much everyone. Have a wonderful, blessed evening, and I will speak to you tomorrow on the internet. Take care. Thank you. Bye.